About 13 years ago, Joe Manchin was sworn into office as a U.S. Senator, and in about 13 months, he'll be out of it. The West Virginia Democrat announced Thursday he won't be running again. He's already won re-election twice, even when his state voted overwhelmingly for Republican presidential candidates. But his position as a moderate Democrat in a red state often put him at odds with leaders of his own party, including over key issues like the environment and government spending. Here's some of what Manchin said earlier.
I've made one of the toughest decisions of my life and decided that I will not be running for re-election to the United States Senate. But what I will be doing is traveling the country and speaking out to see if there is an interest in creating a movement to mobilize the middle and bring Americans together.
And for more, let's bring in Nikole Killion. So, Nikole, what does this mean, mobilize the middle, and do we know why the senator is stepping aside?
Well, the senator said that he consulted with his family and really has been giving some thought about this for some time now, but ultimately he feels that he has done what he could for the state of West Virginia and feels that it is time to step down. You know, he cited this story from his father who advised him not to get into politics. But when he did, his father said that he would support him and that he made this pledge to his father that he would work on behalf of everyone, whether friend or foe. And he said that's kind of been his guiding North Star in politics for the better part of his career. But again, he feels that in that vein, his work is done. He did say that he intends to travel the country. And while some are reading into that perhaps maybe he might seek higher office because he hasn't officially closed the door on a presidential run, those close to him say not to read too much into that statement. We also heard from No Labels earlier today, which has been suggesting that it might put forth some kind of unity ticket. And while they praised Joe Manchin's work as a senator, they said any potential decision about a unity ticket will be made sometime early next year.
And Nikole, remind us, as we think about his career in the past, about Manchin's record in the Senate.
Well, he was kind of a thorn in Democrats' side at times. I mean, he at times towed the party line, but many times he took more of that independent streak and really kind of bucked the party trend. He often worked across the aisle, whether it was, for instance, on issues like infrastructure, but for instance, with respect to the president's more recent Inflation Reduction Act. Certainly, Senator Manchin was a key partner, but he did draw the ire, particularly of many progressives, from the standpoint that many of them felt that he was holding the Democratic agenda back, but he also scored a number of legislative wins as well. So, this is someone that, in terms of his announcement today, was kind of praised on both sides of the aisle for his contributions to the Senate.
And then briefly, Nikole, what does this mean for the balance of power after the next election?
Well, it does put things in jeopardy, particularly for Democrats. They were already facing a very difficult Senate map in 2024. And so this does raise the possibility of whether or not this seat in West Virginia could be a pickup for Republicans. We do know that, of course, had Joe Manchin run for re-election, he would have faced a Republican opponent, potentially who was very popular in the state. Governor Jim Justice is running, also Congressman Alex Mooney. But Justice certainly was leading Manchin in a lot of state polls. So whether or not that was a factor in the senator's decision, we'll have to see. But the NRSC made clear they like their odds now in West Virginia.
Nikole Killion on Capitol Hill. Thank you.
You bet.